So you own a business and you know that you need to be doing social media content or at least organic video content in some way, shape, or form, whether it's a YouTube channel, social media, or a podcast, but you're not entirely sure where to start. Well, this video is going to be for you. So I have a few tips that I'm going to walk you through to get you going, the essentials that you need in order to be able to launch a very strong video content, social media content strategy. The first thing you really have to be thinking about when it comes to building any kind of social presence, and this is just marketing 101, just marketing in general. I don't care if you're doing TV advertisement, mailing postcards, doing social media, podcasts, whatever it is, anything in marketing, the number one thing that you have to start with is knowing your audience, knowing your target demographic. Now, let's just assume that you're not starting social media or a podcast to be famous and you're not trying to just build like this influencer profile. I'm talking to you if you are a business owner trying to leverage these platforms to get in front of your target customers, and that's the intention. You already have a product, you already have a service, something that you're trying to get in front of people. How do you start that? Number one is know your audience. Now, this is, again, marketing 101. Create your target demographic, your avatar. There's a few names for it, but you know what it is. Basically, it's knowing who they are, their interests, their tendencies. A lot of it's where they hang out as well. So you want to make sure that you know where do they go. For example, I work heavily within the real estate investing space. If I'm working with an active real estate investor that's trying to market to get leads to come through the door of people selling their house to them, it doesn't make the most sense for them to start trying to build a presence on TikTok, because TikTok is a very worldwide demographic and you're not able to geo-target your demographics unless you run paid advertising. And of course, we're talking about organic specifically on this episode. That's important to understand, is that that person that I'm marketing with or marketing to, they're not going to be hanging out on TikTok. And so it's going to be kind of pointless to try to build any kind of a presence there. But where they do hang out is Facebook. They are looking for answers in a search engine like YouTube. So going aggressively at those platforms is going to be key for a active real estate investor trying to bring in leads of someone trying to sell their house to them. So that's just an example. You need to kind of shake that to whatever you are doing, whether you own a coffee shop or you are a real estate investor, maybe you have a laundromat, whatever it is, whatever your business is, really dig in and know, like I always say, you need to know who your customer is better than they know themselves. Every tendency, their interests, tendencies, geographical location, where they hang out online, in person, whatever it is, know them. And if you don't, dig in as deep as possible. The next thing is you really have to have a very clear path, no resistance, a very clear path of where your customer, when they first get introduced to you, on how they can actually work with you in some way, shape, or form. Whether that's, ordering a free plus shipping book offer that you have, or it's going into a free Facebook group that you have a community that's built in a Facebook group, or you have a free course for them to have, or a $99 course, whatever it is, whatever that next paywall is from your organic content, which is free, of course. Where do they take that next step? You have to be very clear on that. And more importantly, first it starts with you. How clear are you on your call to actions? How clear are you on your customer journey? Because if you aren't clear on it, your customers aren't going to be clear on it, right? So you really have to nail that down. I like to take a map and just create a upside down triangle, otherwise called as a funnel. Map out every bit of a step that a customer can take with you. If the bottom of your funnel is a $50,000 coaching program, then the top of the funnel is free organic content. It's your podcast, it's your YouTube channel, your social media presence. And then the next step is your $99 course, or the next step is your free plus shipping offer. Then the next step after that is a $99 course. And then the next step after that is a $1,500 a month, group coaching program, whatever it is. Map all that out. And that's really where you have to begin, is the top of that funnel. What we're talking about today is specifically organic social media. A lot of times people will put out posts, and this is where kind of paid advertising and organic social come into kind of like they start to deviate from into their own separate worlds. Paid advertising, you can, run paid advertising specifically for that bottom of the funnel, that $50,000 coaching program, and that's fine. But that's because you are leveraging that piece and telling the algorithms and telling Facebook and telling YouTube where exactly you want that to go and get in front of the right people. Whereas organic is a lot more for curation. It's a lot more for nurturing a person so that they can follow you and then eventually go through every phase of the funnel and, eventually get to the end where they're spending the most amount of money, the highest potential earnings with you. But the first thing that you really got to be thinking about when it comes to the customer journey is where it's starting, and that's organic content. Now that you have that laid out, what is the next step? And if you can articulate that very clearly within your content, I think this is a really big piece that people miss, is that they want to just deliver value, but then, somebody actually wants to take action with you in some way, but they don't really know how to do that. And it's not our tendency to just go into the description and read all of the links that you have and decide which one I should do. You watch a YouTube video, and then you see it all the time. You watch a YouTube video of somebody, then you go down in the description and there's 30 different links for, you to take action on, or you're in an Instagram profile and there's a link tree that has 30 different links. That can get confusing. You need to have very specific tactics, a very specific call to action that people can take right after they watch your content. Now, chances are they're not going to go to that link. They're not going to go to that call to action after the first video. There's a unicorn chance that they might. However, it's going to take 30 to 1,000 videos for them to watch of you to build that credibility and authority in their mind with you, to be able to spend their hard-earned money with you, and then they'll move along. And that's the point of organic social, is to be able to build that curation process, and it's a lot easier of a conversion when they come to you. But if you don't have that journey, that call to action mapped out, and you're clearly articulating it within your content, then that's a miss, in my opinion, when it comes to the marketing side of organic social. Now, I'm going to leave it with this. My rule when it comes to call to actions, or especially with organic social, is I have a 90-10 rule. 90% of your content should be value-driven. Whether you're doing information, education, entertainment, it needs to be value-driven, like all of it. So don't be talking about your call to action, your products, your services for 90% of your video or 50% of your video. It should only be 10% or less. Typically, if we're doing a shorts video, I save the last 5 to 10 seconds of that short video for my call to action. It's going to be quick. It's going to be punchy, something that somebody can instantly, without even having to sit on a sales pitch, call to action ad, or whatever you want to call it. They know exactly who they are and if they're going to take action with me and how to do it. So make sure that you're leveraging that rule, because that is important. You want to build value. That's the point of organic. And then you can, take advantage. 5 to 10 seconds of your videos, give a call to action. In my podcast episodes that I have, for the 2 podcasts that I have, there's a mid-roll ad that's about 45 seconds long that tells people what I do and how they can work with me in whatever capacity. And then it goes right back to the episode. And it's a very, very short amount of time. In a 45-second ad, it's going to be about a 30 to 45-minute podcast episode. So it's a very small percentage. So I spent a lot of time on that point, but that was a very, very important one that I want everybody to grasp onto. The next phase of this is to start creating the content itself. Now, I'm going to have tons of other content out here, lots of other videos that you can go through and dig through and watch. That's going to teach you how to create topics, how to shoot video content well, how to stay consistent, stuff like that. So I'm going to kind of keep this very high level, and then you can go watch those videos after this. But the next point of it is to actually create content and make it stuff that is very relevant to your demographic. That's why we start with square one, is knowing your demographic, who they are, what their needs are, what their pain points are. And then obviously that stitches over to point number 3, which is creating the content that's relevant to them. Great example is that I have a business where we're your service provider that manages organic social media, organic podcast, organic YouTube channels, and we do video content. I'm putting out content teaching people how to do it and giving them an understanding about how to do it themselves, so that potentially maybe in the future they try it themselves. Maybe they value it enough but aren't really willing to spend the time on it or hire an in-house employee. So then they reach out to me. They say, Josh, I watched all your videos. You know what you're talking about. Can you just take this on for me? And that's essentially, and that happens quite often, is I teach it and then they come back, they try it themselves, or they just don't want to try it at all, but they value it. And then they come back to me and just say, hey, Josh, can you do this? That's kind of the point of this, right? So take, for instance, the NBA, right? So it's a basketball association, the National Basketball Association. It's very obvious. Like, this is where it comes down to, like, this is really obvious, but I don't know why people can't grasp onto this. You have the NBA, it's a basketball league, right? So what is all the content going to be about that they put on their socials or their organic content or their YouTube channels or whatever? It's all going to be driven around basketball. It doesn't matter if it's behind the scenes look at LeBron James workout, or if it's, the media day just recently, right before recording this episode, the Boston Celtics had their media day. So the NBA was posting a lot of content about their media day, their photos, they were posing with their trophies and stuff like that. Like, that's the type of content the NBA is going to put out because it's around basketball. And if you go through all their social, there's going to be very minimal or probably no content that you're going to find that has no relevance to basketball. That's the point of this. So take it, and whatever your business is, whatever it is that you do, you're just creating content about who you are, what you do, and the industry that you're operating within, teaching people about it. If you own a donut shop, do videos on like reviewing the donuts that you have in your shop, or the process that you go through in order to make a good donut, and potentially like, creating I would love this idea if somebody did this that has a donut shop, and create content around, hey, here's our secret ingredients on how we create this amazing old-fashioned donut. Here's what we do. Try it yourself at home and let us know if it worked. Like, you're teaching people how to do it, but nobody's going to do that on a consistent basis. It's easier for them to just walk into your shop, buy a $1 donut, and hand you $1, as opposed to spending the 10 or 30 minutes it takes for them to make it themselves, right? But they're going to try it, be like, okay, this is cool, but I'd rather just go buy it at the shop, right? So that's kind of the thought process here, is creating content around what your industry specifics are, and just talk about it. Just literally talk about your business, who you are, what you do, but base it on delivering value at all times, especially on the organic side. So the last part of this is, it's a zinger, right? Consistency. A lot of people want to have the secret sauce when it comes to social media, podcasting. How do I grow? Like, what are the hacks and stuff like that? But if you ask anybody that's done this successfully at any level, we've managed several clients where they've reached a level of success. And the best clients that I have are the ones that are the most consistent with feeding content to us. And then obviously it's our job to put it out on a daily, weekly basis, whatever the frequency is. Those are my most successful clients that have done it over the course of 2, 3, 4 years. That is the ultimate, like, cherry on top when it comes to content, when it comes to leveraging organic content. If you don't stay consistent with it over a long period of time, you're not going to see results. There are those kind of anomalies where you could put a video out and then it goes viral overnight. But if you don't ride that wave and stay consistent with it, it's going to fizzle out. That flame is going to die off at some point when the wax disappears, right? So you want to make sure you're consistently feeding that machine of content and getting it out. And don't worry about the views, the subscribers, and the vanity metrics that you're looking at. This is why I talk about using content for business as marketing specifically, because if you're looking at those vanity metrics, they potentially could be leading you down a false road. Those metrics don't show dollars in your bank account. However, let's say you put a video out that gets 100 views and it brings in 5 or 6 customers, but then you put a video out that gets 1,000 views and it brings in no customers. This is where you have to really make the deviation between you being an influencer and you using these platforms as actual marketing, right? Now, of course, like, there's indicators. You want subscribers, you want views. That's going to get you in front of more people. However, it shouldn't be the North Star. It shouldn't be that thing that you're chasing. Make sure that you have your call to actions dialed in, you have your line of path for a customer journey dialed in, and more importantly, you have your customer dialed in. That's where you're going to see the ultimate results and consistency over a long period of time. So thanks for watching. If you got value out of this, make sure you leave a comment below with your thoughts. Subscribe to my channel. There's going to be a lot of fresh content coming out. And if you're a real estate investor, I have an amazing podcast called the REI Marketing Weekly. We get industry experts on the line that are running successful businesses in the real estate investing space, teaching you how to grow your business with marketing and many different ventures. So make sure you subscribe to that. That's also posted on our YouTube channel, but you can find that on Apple Podcasts and Spotify as well. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you guys on the next one.